There's a common belief that eggs are the gold standard for dietary protein, and while that's partially true, there's a lesser known food source that not only outperforms eggs in protein density per gram, but also triggers a unique set of biological responses that help protect your muscles from age loss, a condition known as sarcopenia. And here's what might surprise you. The decline in muscle mass doesn't just start in your 70s. Research shows it begins as early as your 30s, and by age 60, most people have already lost 15 to 20% of their muscle mass without realizing it. But there's good news. Your muscles are constantly listening, responding to the food you eat, the way you move, and even how you sleep. And certain foods trigger a stronger anabolic or muscle building signal in your body and brain than others. One of the most powerful, a food that's often overlooked, but has more protein per gram than eggs, more leucine for muscle synthesis, and a faster absorption profile. I'll reveal what that food is shortly. And more importantly, how to use it effectively. Now, why does this matter? Muscle isn't just about strength or appearance. It's the most metabolically active tissue in your body. It governs insulin sensitivity. It protects your joints and bones. And perhaps most overlooked, it deeply influences your brain. There's a powerful link between muscle mass and cognitive longevity. Studies show that individuals with more preserved muscle in older age have better memory, lower risk of dementia, and improved emotional regulation. The reason? Muscle acts like a hormonal reservoir. When you move, you release myokines, small proteins that talk to your brain, reduce inflammation, and support neuroplasticity. So if you're feeling weaker, noticing more fatigue, or watching the scale go up even though you're not eating more, sarcopenia may be silently progressing. But we can intervene, not with a complicated supplement stack or a 6-day gym routine, but with smarter nutrition, grounded in science, and targeted movement. In this talk, we'll dive into 6 breakthrough insights from neuroscience and nutritional physiology. Each one will give you practical tools to slow and even reverse muscle loss using nothing more than behavioral changes and natural food strategies. Here's what you'll learn. The one food that has more usable protein than eggs, and how to time it for maximum anabolic effect. Why your brain's perception of satiety may be sabotaging your muscle maintenance, and how to recalibrate it. How certain amino acids trigger mTOR, the master muscle building switch, and how to make it work for you. The sleep-muscle connection, how night eating affects muscle breakdown. Why most people underdose protein and overestimate their intake, and a simple visual rule to fix it. And finally, a daily 3-step protocol to combat sarcopenia starting today, based on peer-reviewed science. If you're ready to feel stronger, protect your brain, and optimize your longevity, it starts with understanding the science behind food and muscle. Let's get into it. Have you ever weighed 100 grams of eggs against 100 grams of cottage cheese? It might surprise you. Cottage cheese not only rivals eggs, it outperforms them in usable protein and anabolic potential. Here's what the research shows. A study comparing whole foods found non-liquid dairy, like cottage cheese, had strong, consistent benefits for muscle mass and strength in adults over 50, even more so than eggs or fish. In 100 g, cottage cheese delivers approximately 11 g of protein and 1.3 g of leucine, Healthline, per gram than a large egg, approximately 0.5 g per egg. That's huge because leucine is the key amino acid that flips the muscle building switch. Why does that matter? Leucine and total protein content determine how strongly your muscles respond. Aging bodies exhibit something called anabolic resistance. They need more stimulus to build muscle. That's why experts recommend about 3 g of leucine plus 25 to 30 g of protein per meal to stimulate muscle protein synthesis in older adult. By packing 1.3 g of leucine and solid total protein in a single serving, cottage cheese offers one of the most efficient whole food ways to reach those targets. Cottage cheese is rich in casein, a slow digesting milk protein that acts like a time-release milk capsule. Unlike fast-absorbing proteins like whey, casein provides a steady supply of amino acids over 3 to 4 hours. That slow drip is exactly what your muscles need, especially overnight when fasting blood amino acids would otherwise dip. In one 2011 study on older adults, approximately 70s, consuming casein before bed led to a positive overnight whole body protein balance compared to a placebo. Similarly, young men who took 40 g of casein 30 minutes before sleep saw improved overnight protein absorption and muscle synthesis rates. Eating whole food casein in the form of cottage cheese mirrors these results, without the need for powders or supplements. Think of cottage cheese as a slow burn log in your metabolic fireplace, while eggs are a quick spark fire. The log keeps the fire going longer, sustaining your muscles more effectively. A simple tool to apply is this. Eat 150 g, approximately 2/3 cup, low-fat cottage cheese, approximately 16 g protein, approximately 2 g leucine as an evening snack, or even pre-dinner protein booster. For older adults or those with anabolic resistance, aim for 200 to 250 g to hit approximately 25 to 28 g protein and approximately 3 g leucine in one go. This targets two pillars: high-quality complete protein, enough leucine to turn on the mTOR, muscle-building pathway, audience engagement, and motivation. Have you ever felt ravenous at night but still tired and weak the next morning? That might be your muscles calling, not your stomach. By choosing pre-sleep cottage cheese, you're not just snacking, you're priming your muscles for repair overnight. That one conscious choice shifts your nighttime metabolism from breakdown to rebuilding. If this resonates, consider subscribing. There's more where this came from to elevate your longevity and performance. Imagine your muscle cells as a factory for crown jewels. But the machinery doesn't run on raw material alone. It needs a master switch. That switch is called mTOR, a protein kinase that acts like a central command hub, controlling protein synthesis, cell growth, and recovery. Now, here's where leucine comes in. Not ruthlessly, but respectfully. Leucine is unique among amino acids. When it floods your bloodstream, it binds to sensors and sends a clear message to mTOR. Start production. This activates mTORC1 and initiates the protein synthesis process inside your muscle cells. Why aging bodies need a louder signal. As we age, muscles become less responsive to the usual cues, a phenomenon known as anabolic resistance. It's as if the crown jewel factory hears produce, but doesn't have enough staff. To compensate, we need a stronger signal, more clarion, more urgent. This is where the leucine trigger hypothesis comes in. It states that a sufficient surge of leucine, about 3 g per meal, is necessary to truly activate mTOR in older adults. Studies show that approximately 2.8 to 3 g leucine within approximately 25 to 30 g of high-quality protein across meals is needed to maximize muscle protein synthesis in aging bodies. A systematic review in older adults found that delivering that leucine, quote, trigger, consistently led to enhanced MPS, especially post-exercise. On the flip side, meals containing less leucine generate weak signals, enough to cause partial factory activity, but not enough to build new muscle. Think of your muscles like a music concert. Protein provides the instruments, but leucine cues the spotlight and the conductor. Without that trigger, the orchestra waits in silence. A simple protocol to apply is this. Aim for 25 to 30 g high-quality protein per meal. Ensure 2.5 to 3 g leucine per meal. That's roughly a palm-sized portion of lean meat, approximately 100 g, or approximately 200 g cottage cheese. Optionally, add a small leucine boost, 0.5 to 1 g, if meals fall short. Behavioral tool. Pre-plan your meals with a visual template. 2. Breakfast, 3 eggs, 1.5 g leucine, plus Greek yogurt, 1.5 g, equals approximately 3 g total to lunch. 120 g chicken, turkey, fish, or lean beef, typically 3 g leucine. To dinner, mirror lunch or add cottage cheese plus veggies. Have you ever hit the gym and felt your muscles don't respond like they used to? What if it's not the workouts? It's the signal your body is getting. Here's what the research shows. Older adults taking leucine-enriched supplements, 3G leucine with approximately 20G protein, triggered stronger muscle protein synthesis after exercise compared to standard protein mixes. Without reaching that leucine threshold, even protein-rich meals underperformed. In fact, a detailed review concluded small doses of leucine, approximately 3G, can evoke a maximal MPS response even when total protein intake is moderate. In other words, smart, targeted leucine is your secret weapon. If this insight helps you, consider hitting subscribe, because next we'll show how to realign your satiety so you don't feel full before your muscles do their work. But here's the empowering takeaway. You don't need a massive meal or fancy supplement stack to optimize muscle. Often it's a matter of hitting the leucine trigger, 3 simple grams, 3 times a day. So tonight, shop with intention. Choose foods with that leucine weight behind them. Cottage cheese, lean poultry, Greek yogurt, or even a quick leucine shot if needed. Giving your brain and muscles that clear signal could be the difference between maintenance and meaningful strength gain. You've eaten a well-rounded meal, but your muscles are still craving fuel. That's because satiety, the feeling of being full, isn't calibrated for muscle repair, especially as we age. Let's unpack why. What's happening in your brain when this occurs? Satiety is governed largely by signals like leptin and cholecystokinin, hormones that tell your brain when to stop eating. But they're tuned more for fat storage and meal size than muscle renewal. With age, the brain's signal threshold shifts. You feel enough earlier, even if muscles haven't received the necessary building blocks. In parallel, anabolic resistance makes muscles require more protein and stronger signals to build. But your meal may trigger satiety hormones before that threshold is reached. Essentially, your internal hungry enough meter is misaligned with muscle needs. Here's what research shows. In older adults, the fullness threshold triggers at a lower amount of dietary protein, leading to consistent underfeeding of muscles. Over weeks and months, this mismatch leads to gradual muscle loss, even if overall calorie intake seems sufficient. Imagine trying to fill 2 buckets of water, but only 1 hose, and the water only flows into the smaller bucket until it's full. Even if you think the first bucket is satisfied, the second remains parched. Your brain is first bucket, your muscle protein synthesis is the second. A simple tool to apply is the protein pause technique. After eating a meal that felt enough, pause and reflect. Have I hit my protein muscle target? 2. If your plate fell short of 25 to 30G protein plus approximately 3G leucine, add a protein mini plate, e.g. a small portion of cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, or lean meat. For example, to lunch of salad plus 1 egg plus 1/2 avocado likely gives 12 to 15G protein, satisfying for hunger but too low for muscles. Pause. Add 100G Greek yogurt, 10G, plus 50G nuts, 8G, to close the gap. To dinner of fish plus veggies, may reach 20G protein. Pause. And add 50G cottage cheese for 6 to 8G more. Cognitive trick for habit. After meals, ask yourself, is my brain really full or just displaced by the act of eating? This slows down autopilot eating and lets you align, review, and adjustments with your muscle needs. Without intentional reflection, you could be eating for comfort, yet starving your muscles. Over time, this leads to weaker joints, poorer gait stability, less resilience to stress, and even cognitive decline because muscle tissue supports brain clarity through myokine release. But here's the empowering truth. This is fixable in the moment. You're not starting over. You're simply retuning your internal sensors and extending your meal to match your muscles' needs. Have you ever felt sluggish midday despite eating enough? Try the protein pause tool this week. If this insight speaks to you, tap that subscribe button. Next, we'll connect movement and nutrition for a neurological multiplier effect. You've heard that you are what you eat, but what if movement and food together create something even more powerful? Muscles aren't just for strength or aesthetics, they're biological signal hubs that talk directly to your brain. When you lift, squat, or even walk briskly, your muscles contract and release small signaling substances known as myokines, including BDNF, IGF-1, IL-6, irisin, and cathepsin B. These travel through your bloodstream, cross into the brain, and initiate a cascade of neurobiological effects: enhanced neuroplasticity, improved memory, better mood, and sharper cognition. .1 Review writes, communication between the brain and muscles is reshaped via myokine signaling pathways with neuroprotective functions. Another adds that resistance training triggers myokine release that regulate the metabolism of not only skeletal muscle but also the brain, bolstering cognitive function. Think of your body as a two-way radio system. Movement sends signals through muscles to your brain, updating software that sharpens focus, emotional control, and resilience. Now, add protein at the right time, and you're essentially turbocharging that transmission. Protein provides the building blocks. The contraction activates the signal. Together, they amplify each other's effects, both physically and neurologically. A simple protocol to apply. Step 1, move intentionally. Perform 20 to 30 minutes of resistance-based movement 3 to 5 times per week. This could be bodyweight exercises, push-ups, squats, bands, or weights. Aim for moderate intensity, enough to momentarily fatigue your muscles and trigger myokine release. Step 2, time your protein within 30 to 60 minutes post-training. Consume 25 to 30 g of high-quality protein, ideally reaching 3 g leucine. Think lean meat, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or fish. Why the window matters: muscle contraction increases blood flow and opens a nutrient uptake window. Pairing protein with this period ensures amino acids aren't just in your system, they're being actively used for rebuilding and signaling. Step 3, reflect and empower. After the meal, ask yourself, how am I feeling mentally? More focused, uplifted, calm? Share, have you ever felt a clearer mind after a workout and meal? That's the brain-muscle dialogue in action. What the research shows: one 12-week resistance training study linked increases in strength with improved neurochemical markers in older adults. Another review concluded that myokines like BDNF and IGF-1 mediate the exercise-driven boost in cognitive performance. In short, muscle movement releases chemicals that protect and grow your brain, while post-workout protein ensures those signals translate into structural gains, both muscular and mental. Here's a simple challenge. Tomorrow, schedule a 25-minute body weight circuit. Squats, push-ups, band rows. Follow it with a protein-rich meal like grilled chicken or a yogurt leucine snack. Notice how your energy, mood, and mental clarity respond. If this boost rings true, consider subscribing. Up next, we'll dive into how sleep and nutrition interplay to preserve muscle integrity. This is powerful stuff, not just lifting or eating, but orchestrating a neurological multiplier. You're building your body and fortifying your brain, every rep, every bite, aligned with science-driven purpose. What if I told you that every struggling night of poor sleep and stress hijacks your hard-earned muscle? Even as you sleep, your body can rob you of strength unless you take action. And this section reveals how cortisol surges and poor night nutrition drive muscle breakdown and what to do about it. What's happening in your brain and body. Sleep isn't just rest. It's a highly choreographed metabolic reset. Slow wave sleep, in particular, is when most growth and repair happen. But disrupted or insufficient sleep throws this process off balance. Studies show that just one night of restricted or poor sleep can reduce muscle protein synthesis by nearly 20%, increase cortisol by approximately 21%, and lower testosterone by approximately 24%. Over time, that's a recipe for accelerated muscle loss and increased sarcopenia risk. Cortisol is a catabolic hormone. It tells your body break down tissue for energy. So when it's elevated during fragmented sleep or high stress nights, muscle tissue becomes collateral damage. The anti-catabolic power of slow digesting protein. The good news, you can curb overnight muscle breakdown by timing what you eat before bed. Studies consistently show that pre-sleep ingestion of 30 to 40 G casein protein leads to proper digestion and absorption overnight, 22% increase in overnight protein synthesis rates compared to placebo, a positive whole body protein balance overnight. In both younger and older adults, a systematic review noted that consuming 40G pre-bed casein after evening exercise helped preserve and build muscle. Think of your muscles overnight like a bank account. During the day, you deposit, exercise plus meals. But at night, especially if sleep is poor, cortisol acts like an automatic withdrawal. Eating casein before bed is akin to setting up an automatic deposit to offset overnight costs and preserve your balance. Here's a simple tool to apply. Nighttime casein reset, 30 to 60 minutes before bed, consume. Approximately 40G casein protein, e.g. 1.5 cups low-fat cottage cheese or Greek yogurt plus small handful nuts. If you train in the evening, pair that with your post-workout protein within the same window for a double benefit. On non-workout days, the pre-sleep snack still helps maintain protein synthesis and counter cortisol's catabolic effect due to poor or what the research shows. One trial using approximately 45 grams per casein pre-sleep after evening resistance exercise found participants reported reduced muscle soreness and better perceived recovery compared to placebo. In a 12-week controlled trial, those who consumed approximately 27 to 40 casein pre-bed showed greater muscle mass and strength gains versus placebo. Studies also link poor sleep quality with elevated cortisol and decreased muscle mass, even when total sleep hours are the same. Have you noticed you feel weaker or crave sugar after a rough night? That's likely cortisol at work, chasing fast energy while your muscles suffer. By adopting the nighttime casein reset, you're not just countering that, you're proactively preserving your strength and metabolic resilience over tomorrow morning. Notice how you feel, stronger grip, less fatigue, maybe even clearer focus. That's your muscles thanking you and your brain benefiting from fewer cortisol spikes. If this insight sharpens your understanding, hit subscribe, because next we'll wrap it all up with a 3-step daily protocol that builds on everything we've covered. You're right at the tipping point, from passive to purpose-driven muscle optimization, even in your sleep. You've learned the science. Now let's build it into your day. This simple, evidence-driven protocol fuses neurological timing, nutritional intelligence, and movement strategies. No gym membership required. Step 1. Protein timing anchors morning and midday meals. Aim for 25 to 30G high-quality protein per meal, each containing 3G leucine. For example, Greek yogurt parfait with berries or whole grain toast topped with cottage cheese and smoked salmon. This aligns with studies showing 25G protein spaced across 3 meals improves muscle maintenance in adults over 50. Evening and pre-bed snack. Within 30 minutes post-training, consume 25 to 30G protein, 3G leucine. 30 to 60 minutes before sleep, add your nighttime casein reset, approximately 40G casein, such as cottage cheese or casein-enriched Greek yogurt. Step 2, neuromuscular activation. Without a gym, movement doesn't need weights, just activation. Here's your daily template. Morning, neuromuscular prime, 10 minutes. Choose a circuit, 2 to 3 sets of squats, push-ups, calf raises, hip bridges, and plank holds. Minimal rest. This activates muscle fibers, starts myokine signaling, and prepares your system for the day. Afternoon or evening, resistance burst, 20 minutes, body weight or band-based push-pull squat, circuit e.g. band rows, chair dips, split squats. Aim for moderate fatigue, approximately 10 to 15 reps per set, enough to trigger myokine release and prime post-exercise protein uptake. That twice-daily movement triggers a neurological muscle conversation and primes your system for daytime meals and pre-bed casein strategy. Step 3, reflect and adjust. Track your day. Post-meal pause. Did you hit 25 to 30G protein? If not, supplement with a mini plate. Movement reflection. After your neuromuscular prime, check in. Muscles feel engaged? Mind feel clearer? Morning reflection. Rate your sleep, soreness, energy, mood. If smooth recovery isn't happening, adjust the casein snack or movement intensity. This is a feedback-driven loop. not perfection. It's about adjusting day by day based on how your body responds. Journal it or keep simple bullet notes. Why this protocol works: spaced protein triggers build frequent anabolic windows, avoiding gaps in muscle-building stimuli. Neuromuscular activation releases myokines that support both brain and body, and prime ingestion windows. Nighttime casein resets preserve muscle overnight, countering cortisol and catabolism. Peer-reviewed trials using similar timings have reversed sarcopenia markers, increasing lean mass, strength, and metabolic health in as little as 3 months. Your muscles and brain are designed to respond. They aren't waiting for perfection, just consistency. So here's your actionable challenge. Start tomorrow: morning circuit plus protein-rich breakfast, midday protein target, evening movement plus post-workout protein. Pre-bed casein snack. Check in with yourself by Friday. Feel stronger, more clarity, better recovery? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if this protocol resonates, please like, share, and subscribe. We're building a community that's optimizing both body and mind scientifically. Together, we often talk about aging like it's a slow erosion of energy, of strength, of vitality. But the truth is, your body is always listening, and what you feed it, not just in food, but in movement, in timing, in rhythm, determines what it becomes tomorrow. Here's what we've learned. Cottage cheese, often overlooked, packs more usable protein and leucine per gram than eggs, and its casein content fuels overnight muscle repair. Leucine isn't just another amino acid. It's the switch that flips on mTOR, your body's muscle-building engine. Without hitting the leucine threshold, your muscles don't get the signal to grow. Satiety cues change as we age, tricking us into thinking we're eating enough when our muscles are still underfed. The solution? Conscious reflection and the protein pause. Muscles talk to your brain. Through myokines, every contraction boosts neuroplasticity, mood, and mental clarity. That's why movement and protein, when timed together, become a multiplier. Not just for strength, but for cognition. Sleep matters as much as training. If cortisol stays elevated overnight, muscle breakdown accelerates. A simple pre-bed protein strategy like cottage cheese can stop that drain and support deep recovery. And finally, the daily protocol. You don't need supplements, gyms, or radical diets. Just 3 steps. Anchor your protein, activate your neuromuscular system, and reflect daily. You now have a science-backed map, not just to stop sarcopenia, but to rebuild strength, restore energy, and protect your mind as you age. But knowledge is only power if it's put to use. So here's your challenge. Try the protocol for just 3 days. Observe how you feel. Are you sleeping better? Thinking clearer? Feeling stronger when you stand or climb stairs? That's not coincidence. That's biology responding to precision. You're not too old. You're not too late. Muscle is plastic. It adapts when given a reason. And if this gave you a reason, if it helped clarify your next step or gave you a tool you can use, I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe. Not just because it helps the channel, but because every click tells the algorithm this content matters, and that helps more people find what you just found. Together, we're creating a space where neuroscience, nutrition, and behavioral science come together, not just to inform, but to empower. Thanks for being here. Your strength is not behind you, it's in your hands now.